What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Hoops Betting Hour. I'm your host, the big man on campus. We're here live on a Wednesday, June 23rd, 2021. I'm glad it's not January, it's June 23rd, 2021. I hope you're all enjoying your day, your morning, wherever you are, whether you're on the West Coast, it's 9 a.m., whether you're on the East Coast, it's noon, wherever you are. Thanks for watching. Thanks for checking in. Everyone on the replay, thanks for watching as well. We're here every day breaking the games down in the NBA. We are presented by Pickswise and powered by FanDuel. Spread Astaire is our guest for today. Spread saw a fascinating game last night. What a finish. We'll get into that in a second. We have the Eastern Conference Finals getting going tonight in Milwaukee. They have an Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in a long time. And new boys Atlanta come in ready to take the crown. Exciting times. We get closer and closer to the finals.
Yeah, I mean, what a game last night. Two takeaways. One of the most exciting games that we have. And, hey, let's give credit to the NBA. They're going to fix this little shooting foul thing. Let's go ahead and fix replay next. The end of that game was way too long. Jeff, I mean, I'm out on the West Coast. It was only 10 o'clock there. I mean, like, what are you guys doing out there on the East Coast when they're just going to replay over and over again for the last 30 seconds of the game?
Well, luckily, I'm a night owl. I stay up pretty late. I'm up till 2, 3 usually every night. But, yeah, I mean, I feel like if you're just a normal, I guess I call them normal people because they are way more normal than I am. The last 90 seconds of the game actually took 33 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's out of control. I mean, that can't happen. And I even said it. It's like, let's go. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Let's figure this out. Look, I get there's some question. But again, that's why we have officials, because they know the rules that we don't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on here? That's absolutely deplorable. That can't happen. There were as many reviews, Spread, as there were field goals during that time. So there were 5 field goals, 5 reviews. Shouldn't happen ever. It's crazy because we could have recorded, like we recorded the sit down on Monday night. We could have recorded it last night and had it out probably by the time the game was over because it took that long. It's brutal. But I will say this. When you look back at the game, the best inbound play I've seen really ever probably. Just an absolutely terrific decision. And that's what you get out of someone like Monty Williams. Again, a very good defensive performance by the by the Suns. Clippers, for that matter, as well. And we see this same song and dance again. Clippers down 2-0. But this time, you got to feel, if you're the Clippers, we've let 2 games get away from us. They didn't have Chris Paul in either game, and they're still up 2-0. Not ideal. I don't really know if you're Tyronn Lue, where you go here, because I don't know if going small works, I don't think anything is going to work here, to be really honest with you. It could just be a real Suns and 4 type of thing here again. They're that good.
They are that good. It'll be interesting to see how it looks back in Los Angeles. We know that Moore shoots a lot better at home, and they get a little more contributions from the role players. Maybe they're not in the spot. But overall, to win the series, Leonard needs to come back, and I don't know if I see that happen. His camp has played it safe for his whole career, right? I mean, he's not going to go out there and give you that Mike Conley performance, right? James Harden limping around there, right? Like at 99%, he's probably still going to sit. So I think this could be the end of the road for the 2-0 Clippers coming back here. But I do like them to come out in Game 3 and give a great performance here. So I don't necessarily think the series is over. I think they've got another punch or two still in their bag. But to try and overcome Phoenix and actually win the series might be too much.
Shout out to Cameron Payne. Huge game last night. 29 points, 9 assists. When you can get that type of production coming off your bench to kind of slot in and be a starter when Paul's out, why they continue to post DeAndre Ayton props in the 20s is beyond me. He continues to blow them out of water. Another winner. We're 2-0 with the points rebounds prop. We'll keep probably hanging on with that one. But, when you look at the Suns, Spread, in my career of doing this, and it's been a long time, I've recently done some podcasts, and, every time you get a new person that has a podcast, they always ask me the same question. How did you start in this business? How long have you been doing this? And I've been doing this since 2009 on Twitter, long time. and I've had some bad takes over the years, some real bad takes. I had a take that Patrick Mahomes wouldn't even start in the NFL. I actually said that. I also said Luke Falk was the next Tom Brady or had Tom Brady qualities. That didn't work out. But I've had some real good takes as well. And probably one of the best takes I've had in the last 5 years is that the Suns at 40-1 were a legitimate title contender. Everybody laughed at me. You can go back and look at the tweet when I put it out. I had people calling me an imbecile, just a lunatic. That's never going to happen. You should burn your money. You should throw it in the fire tonight. But you know what? It would take a beautiful mind like mine to see that. And you know what, Spread? When you look back on it, they have Ayton, who has turned into quite the big in this league. They have Devin Booker, who's as good a scorer as anyone in this league. They've got a Hall of Famer and an absolutely terrific nails defender in Chris Paul, a guy that can floor general this team. They've got two wings, one of them Bridges, who's kind of a throwback to what Jay Crowder used to be, but still is. And you have both them on the wing. You have a solid bench with Cameron Johnson and Cameron Payne and Dario and Kaminsky and all these different guys. And you have a hell of a coach and a great home atmosphere that you knew was going to play a part this year. What's not to like about the Phoenix Suns? And you know what? I'm happy it's come to fruition. Now, they may not win, but they get one step closer to cashing a big ticket. And when you look back, Spread, is this surprising at all to anybody? This is a good basketball team. Very good basketball team.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be pretty happy holding that ticket in your hands. And then it's tough to decide. I mean, what's the great story here we want to highlight? Is it DeAndre Ayton or is it Cam Payne? Because they're both just like fantastic tales. They get you excited, especially for teams, right, that may have watched their lottery pick struggle on the first year, right? Because we just watched Phoenix fans, crush their GM for not taking Luka for the last 2 years, and now they're seeing the reason that they drafted this guy DeAndre Ayton. So that's a lot of fun for him to kind of get that shadow and that monkey off his back there, because I mean he's looked fantastic and he's providing things that a lot of players just can't provide. Look at him down low now. I mean he's not there yet, right? But he's looking like the way Bam Adebayo looked with that Miami team. The way he's able to do multiple things. He's quick on the floor, able to defend in the switch, which is so important in today's NBA because he's not going to get played off the floor. Then we look at Cam Payne, a guy who just got absolutely trashed in his time in the league, and I think signed like off the waiver wire here, right? It's not like they even traded for him. And he's dropping 29-9, and just he led the team so well in Chris Paul's absence last night. So really exciting story there. But hey, I mean, this is why I don't want to count the Clippers out. If they don't replay that play and Williams can't draw that up, the Clippers might have gone home 1-1 last night. So just like in the Nets game where Durant stepping on the line changed everything. A lot of the reasons what we're talking about is different today because Monty Williams was allowed to draw up that play.
Let's remember, Clippers cover last night.
Yep.
Shout out to the Clippers. Again, you had to figure they would make the game a bit of bit closer than it was. But you gave them 5 points when, game one they lost by 6. Last night they lose by 1. They're just missing. They don't have enough. Obviously, if you have Kawhi Leonard, it's a different series probably, but you don't. So
right.
You got to just do what you got to do. One other thing, and obviously there were so many, so I'm sure there's got to be one of them. And I'm going to say this. We have talked, you and I, Spread, about that individual that had the escapade with 7 of the Suns players.
Oh, yeah.
So we can imagine that one of them is single, right? I'm sure at least one of them is. And I've noticed with the NBA over the years, a lot of them like to see themselves on camera. They like to get a little bit of clout, if you will. There are certain NBA players that are not as popular as others, but there has to be a jokester in that group that gets her to a game. There has to be. And again, the national TV broadcast will not zoom in on her, but there's going to be someone there that will get that out on the internet. And come on, you got to get her there, man. Now, I'll tell you this, though. That might hurt them because if they see her in the stands, it might be, I don't want that to be brought back to light. We kind of forgot about that. But if they win the title, Spread, you got to give honorary rings to her and to that cat that was fighting that kid.
Yeah.
Both seem to be
Put them
legendary.
in a luxury suite together and see how that turns out.
Yeah, well, I do know he has a girlfriend, so I don't think that
Oh,
would
okay.
work with him. But she has some mystical powers, so maybe you never know. Uh, a wild world where you do things now that would have been frowned upon about 10 years ago. By the way, I said this last night on Twitter. What happens if they lose a game? Is the Sons of Four thing, is that not as cool? Or because it
Yeah.
continues to be cool that he's like actually might be right.
Yeah.
Like if they lose, is that not as cool?
Yeah, I saw the whole arena chanting it as they were walking out. I mean,
Really?
just the whole
Wow.
place. They posted
Well,
it up on Reddit. It was pretty fun to see for a fan base that really hasn't had a lot to cheer for about 12 years.
yes. And I will say this, I remember in Philly when the Eagles won, we had
Hmm.
that dog mask thing. Everybody was
Oh
doing
yeah,
that, right? The underdog thing.
yeah,
And we had Nick Foles and all these crazy things. They have, every good team and every special team has those things. And you know what? I last night realized when that inbound play happened, that's exactly when I truly believed the Suns are going to win the title.
hmm
Things like that don't happen to teams that don't have magic. They have magic, and they're very good too. But I love that team. I am so happy they're doing well because I really like them. I love Crowder. I love Booker. I love that team, and I'm hoping they can do it. All right, let's move on here. Let's talk about tonight's game, Eastern Conference Finals, Game 1. We thought it would be the Sixers. We thought it would be the Bucks, but it's the Hawks and the Bucks. The changing of the guard in the East. And shout out to the Bucks who are finally here. It's been a while since they've been to the Eastern Conference Finals and had the opportunity to be the favorite. There's some differences this year between other years. They have a guy called Drew Holiday who is obviously a much better wing and perimeter defender than they've had in years past. And you've got to ask yourself in this series, is he capable and are they capable of shutting down Trae Young? Because the Philadelphia 76ers did an awful job defending Trae Young, right? Let's just be honest. Trae Young leads the league in most points by floaters this season. 332 of his points have come on floaters, which, again, I know it's tough to stop, but somebody's got to do something about it. I have a feeling Milwaukee's going to do it. You look at the length they have. They just kind of really, with Middleton and with Giannis and with big guy like Brook Lopez and Drew Holiday, all these guys, they have length, and it's so difficult to do things like that. This is where I think necessarily up front, not having a DeAndre Hunter will hurt. Not having a healthy Bogdanovic, at least initially, is going to hurt. I think this is and look, I have gotten beat with the Bucks. I got beat with them against the Nets a couple of times laying points. But doesn't this just seem like a double-digit victory for the home team Bucks? Where Atlanta doesn't have the magic they had. They aren't making threes. The length bothers them. Trae Young maybe has a solid game, but not a great game. Maybe like he did the other night where he may shoot a little bit better, but you're not getting the production from Herter. You're not getting the production. John Collins is not effective against a longer team and a team that defends him better. They're not as, crap down your leg like the Sixers were. This line tells me everything, doesn't it? Doesn't it tell you
That's
everything?
funny. I think it was gonna be a close game. I was actually looking at taking Atlanta now that it's moved all the way out to 8, even at 7. I kind of liked Atlanta to keep it close, and my main reason that I like that is because I think this total's wrong. My favorite play here is the under, but because I do think it's going to be so much more lower scoring, that's why I tend towards taking the points. I think it is going to be a closer game. I think Atlanta does pose some problems. We mentioned the ability of Drew Holiday to be a better defender on Trae, and that's true. But just like they were able to find Seth Curry and use Herter on him, they're going to be able to find Pat Connaughton. They're going to be able to find Bryn Forbes, and I think McMillan does do a good job of attacking the weaker matchups, which is actually something I thought that Philly failed to do. Like, how was Trae Young not getting hunted out there? Right? I mean, we always talked about, well, that's gonna be one thing in the playoffs. It's gonna be hard to keep Young on the floor. I haven't seen either of the teams that Atlanta's played so far. New York probably didn't have the people to do it, and then Philadelphia just simply didn't do it. to attack. His biggest weakness as a player, and that's on defense. I do like Atlanta to keep it close. I do like their ability to shoot, and they have so many shooters that whoever gets hot is going to be able to carry the day. I agree with you overall, though. I like Milwaukee to win the series. They might even win it quickly, but I just think Atlanta keeps it close tonight. But Milwaukee probably wins.
Yeah, I think it just seems like a 10-point victory for Milwaukee to me. I think this is a tough spot for Atlanta, kind of coming right back. It's definitely another road game here. I just think the Magic are not. And look, I like Atlanta. I respect them a lot. I picked them to win the last series, but I just think not having Herter or not having a healthy Bogdanovich, not having Hunter. Herter, I don't know that I expect him to do what he did in Game 7. I think they do a much better job against Trae Young. I think Milwaukee finally starts shooting the ball better, and I think there's got to be a lot taken away with how bad they shot against the Brooklyn Nets and still won that series. I think there's a lot to take away from that. I think defensively they just really bogged down on the Hawks here. And look, the Hawks have had 2 really good series where they played close and they've obviously won their series, but I think this is just a different bit of an animal. And I'm not saying that they can't keep it hot in the series. And I probably think in Game 2, I'd be a little bit more inclined to back them with a bit healthier Bogdanovich. Maybe get Reddish involved a little bit more. But there was also one thing that was pretty evident about the Philadelphia series that I worry about here again. The Hawks had no answer for Joel Embiid. None. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're going to have any answer for Giannis Antetokounmpo either. You look at Giannis, and he was absolutely incredible and magnificent against Brooklyn. His over/under tonight, points, rebounds, is 46.5. It's very high. So you're expecting 35 and 13, right? But I'm gonna go with the Bucks here. I'm gonna go back to back on the side here. I backed props the last couple of nights, but I think I'm gonna lay the 7.5 here with the Bucks. I just think they're significantly better. I think this is the first spot in a series where they just kind of win, 118, 108, 116, 105, something like that. I think they pull away, find a way. I think they're much better from the line. I think there's just a lot of things that I think Game 1 they're gonna bother them a little bit here. I'm gonna play the Bucks. You like the under though?
Yeah, I like the under as my play. I think we get off to a slow start, and I think that we will see larger rotations, kind of like Ty Lue did in Game 1 of the Phoenix game here. Maybe we'll see some Bobby Portis minutes. A little more depth on the Atlanta side too, as these coaches try to fill out matchups and maybe see players that they weren't expecting to work themselves in the rotations. Do expect to see some nerviness down the stretch, and of course, if I do think it's going to be close, which means the fourth quarter possessions might slow down a little with the team up by 5 or 6 running down the shot clock. So I like the under.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think that's a pretty good take. I like Milwaukee defensively, and I think they, as I said, probably bogged down a lot on Atlanta. Really, really bogged down on Atlanta. All right. Short and sweet today. One game. Obviously the playoffs are getting smaller and smaller. So there is a few things that I want to kind of wrap up with and just kind of talk about as a whole. Devin Booker. Now, look, I want to make this clear. I was recording something last night, and I didn't see the entire game. What happened to his nose? I didn't see that.
It got broke on a play. I think it was against Patrick Beverley, and Patrick Beverley, hit his head. His forehead hit the bridge of Booker's nose, and I think it's broken. Booker went back to the locker room for a little bit. Came back out, but it's definitely broken, and I wonder if that's going to be an issue in Game 2. But he seemed to play just fine when he came back out. So,
yeah, he definitely looked like a fighter that had got hit too many times after the game.
Yeah.
Let me ask you. I want to quickly talk about this because I'm beginning to become, frankly, a little concerned about the NFL and the prospect of a season this year. That is devoid and normal, right? Again, devoid of coronavirus and a normal stadium and a normal everything. Are you worried at all? Because I am. I'm seeing a lot of pushback from not just one or two players, a lot of players.
Really?
And I'm starting to wonder how does the NFL actually do this? Because you have a large contingent of individuals that are going to get vaccinated or have been vaccinated. And then you have a large swath of individuals that will not get vaccinated and say it's not going to happen. Montez Sweat, Joe Mixon, Cole Beasley, Josh Allen, Sam Darnold. These are all people that have come out and said, I'm probably not going to get vaccinated. Or, hey, I'm definitely not getting vaccinated. And the NFL put out procedures and rules on if you're vaccinated and if you're not vaccinated. And I'm continuing to wonder, are we going to have the same issues last year where we don't know who's going to play because there are some people that we don't know if they've gotten the vaccine? How on earth is this going to happen? And look, I think if you don't get the vaccine, I do find it dumb. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I guess ultimately it is your choice. It is your choice, obviously. Is it a choice I would make? No. But I've learned in America there's always going to be people that do not want to, listen and do things. They want to do what they want to do. And I think that's fine. But when you kind of throw out the sentiment that you don't care and you're going to break the rules and you don't care what happens, like Cole Beasley said, then I think you have some problems. And I do think there will be people that will be cut because of this. But the problem that you have, Spread, is if Josh Allen says, hey, I'm not getting the vaccine and I'm just not going to follow the rules either, this thing's over, you're not going to cut Josh Allen. So I just think the NFL is beginning to see a bit of an issue here. And maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm overplaying it, but I'm a bit concerned about what I'm hearing from players that have a bit of a stature in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, the NFL is going to play no matter what. But I think we're going to have issues with COVID and people coming out regardless of vaccination status because look at Chris Paul, right? He took the vaccine, and here he is, and he's missed 2 games of the Western Conference Championship, right? And I even read last night that he had symptoms. It wasn't just he was testing positive. Now they're a little worried about his Game 3 status. I guess he had a fever yesterday. So, I think that it's still going to be a specter hanging over the head. And it'll be interesting to see how this works, and maybe it causes divides in locker rooms. I know that they tried to deny it, but it seemed like my favorite team, my local team, had a divide in the locker room about the kneeling, whichever year that came out. I think it was 2017 when it first became the rage. Yeah, and there was reports out here that the offensive line was not happy with Derek Carr.
Yeah, remember they supposedly didn't block for Derek Carr?
Yeah, and I don't think it went that far. I think they tried on the field, right? But I think there are some issues there, and I wonder if it could be the same thing, right? Where if you think, hey, you're not with me, you didn't do this, right? Like we're just here trying to get the season done, and you're not taking the same steps I do. I'm going to be really surprised to see how it turns out, and I won't be surprised if we get some anonymous reports from certain teams that this is causing issues.
I think it's bound to cause issues, man. There are a lot of players in the NFL. Look, say what we want. I mean, I think we both are on the same page that you probably want to protect people in your community. We have to remember that there are people that can't get a vaccine. Okay,
right?
They just can't. They're compromised, right? And I think and I don't want to go on a rabbit trail about this, but we have to stop being so, and I think we all are guilty of it. We have to stop being so greedy and not compassionate, listen, I know people don't trust doctors per se, which I find odd, but I know you have your ulterior motive and you don't believe certain CDC and stuff like that, but I don't know. There's just tons of people that are talking how this vaccine is good, and I don't know if you've noticed, Spread, but the coronavirus has been significantly beaten up because of vaccines. I don't think it just disappeared. So, again, there's always going to be people that you could tell them the sky's blue and it's sunny out, and it is, and they'll tell you, no, it isn't.
Yeah.
What are you, crazy? It's not sunny out.
Right. Birds aren't real. They're CIA.
Yeah. Or, yeah, dude, the world is flat. What are you talking about? There is a government agency under the Denver airport. Stop. Whatever. I choose to not involve those folks in my life. Whatever. Okay. Fine. That's fine. Believe what you want. I've said this many times, again and again. I do find it fascinating about so many people that they'll tell you how terrible a vaccine is and you shouldn't get it. But as they're telling you this, these are probably people that smoke 8,000 cigarettes a day and eat terribly, and they just do all these things that are way more dangerous to their health than a little jab in the arm to protect others. But we'll see what happens in the NFL. Spread Astaire, always great to speak to you. We got Bucks, Hawks tonight. For me, I'm going to play the Bucks. I'm going to lay the 7.5. Spread, you're going to take the under. I think you're onto something there. We'll look forward to seeing what happens with it. Do you have any player props? Do you have any interest in Giannis points, rebounds over 46.5? That's high, isn't it? Because 33 and 12 doesn't get you there.
I think you can play that bet, and even if it cashes, I think, right? That's not a bet you want to make long term. I'm not saying it can't cash, but it just seems like, they put the number there for a reason. When I'm looking at these ones, I'm gonna look at I'm gonna try and grab role players at home.
Yeah.
So I'll take Tucker.
Actually, I think I want to say I think you were the one Sunday that I think you talked at Lou Williams. I think he hit. You talked about some of these kind of ancillary players. So let me ask you. So we have like Pat Connaughton tonight, 6.5 points.
Those are the two I want. I want Tucker and Connaughton. I want these really low ones. And Connaughton, they kind of got me. It was 6.5. That's rough because I was hoping I could just get him home with 2 threes. But it looks like we're going to need a field goal too. But I'll take Tucker. Go ahead.
You know a guy I'm looking at?
Who?
Gallinari, under.
Oh, wow.
And I'll tell you why.
Because he can get into foul trouble with Giannis?
Yes, and I think he's going to be a liability on defense, and I don't think you can play him. And I just think overall this is not going to be a suitable game for him to be involved in. I do think Bogdan might get some more of the minutes. Maybe Reddish, you throw him out there a little bit. I don't know. I just something tells me that he scores like 11 points tonight or something. I don't know if I'll play it. I'm going to look more into it. I haven't played a ton of points props under. Just kind of trying to attack and find ones. You mentioned PJ Tucker. What were you going to say on that?
The two I like are Tucker and Connaughton. Tucker's 4.5. So if I get 2 corner threes out of him, I get that home. I do expect to see that.
PJ Tucker has to play better tonight, right? He was. Defensively, he was not exactly a lead against Kevin Durant, but you got to be a little bit better against a smaller Trae Young and guys like that. You look at his last 3 games, he actually in that 38-minute performance center had 11 points. So, 4.5 is nothing. I need money, says Hawks are 12-3 to the first half under.
I like it. I think they start slow. They've had a couple days off. They're both coming off huge emotional wins, right? These would be the classic letdown spots, right, for both teams. I don't know whose win was more emotional. That Milwaukee game was unbelievable, but then you turn around and for Atlanta do what they did in Philadelphia, really against all odds. I was on that morning. I did like Atlanta to cover. I didn't think they were going to win straight up. So
one extra day for the Bucks to mend over the Hawks, which small slate advantage. But listen, I'm not going to talk much about that. The Hawks are, always a team that are going to give you the max effort. But I just think they struggle here in Game 1. I think they struggle with the length. I think they struggle with Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think the Bucks. And look, I've been beat on this a couple of times, assuming the Bucks will shoot better. But I have to figure they do. I just do at home. I don't know. But all right, Spread. You can find Spread on Twitter at Spread Astaire. I'll put that in the comment section. Thanks, everyone, for watching the show live. I know this is a tough time to listen, but we thank the people that do. A lot of people check this out on the back end, so thanks for doing that. If you enjoy what you're seeing and you're not subscribed, make sure you hit subscribe. From what I understand, Pickswise is going to continue content. We'll see how that goes into the fall and things like that. We are here till the end of July, breaking down the NBA every day. Spread, we'll see you later in the week. Tell us about what you have going on. Tennis, what's going on with tennis? And I know you're doing all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, so Wimbledon qualifiers is starting this week, which means we will be having a pod for the At Net Worth pod this weekend, previewing Wimbledon. We'll be going over all the first round matches we like, and of course, giving out outright picks. And that's some of the most fun you can do in tennis because, unlike an NBA future where your money's tied up all season, you can get those same type of numbers over a 2 week tournament. I can get those plus 900s, those plus 1400s, right, and have a lot of fun with it, especially on the women's side. On the men's side, we know how dominant Djokovic can be, so maybe not as many values there. But on the women's side, where I'm more specialized, you can hit a lot of those really big underdogs and make the tournament a lot of fun. So head on over, check me out at Spread Astaire. Obviously, NBA coverage every day. I like to, throw out some thoughts on that, and we'll be giving you some good Wimbledon coverage too.
I Need Money says, appreciate the content. Thank you. Yeah, go check out Wimbledon content because there's not a lot of people capping tennis in the game. Spread's doing that on a regular basis. For me, go check out the Sit Down podcast. It's out today, a brand new episode. We talk about Greg Scarpa, a guy that killed over 100 people. He was an informant for the FBI for a long time. Nobody knew. He was also someone, Spread, that you want to hear something crazy, Spread, about this guy? In the 80s, Greg Scarpa took a ton of aspirin, right? He was always this guy that was always worried about getting a headache when he would drink and stuff, so he'd pop aspirin like Tic Tacs. He gets some stomach ulcers and needs a blood transfusion. He says that he does not want blood donated from anyone that's not in his circle or his family, right? Because he's worried about AIDS and he doesn't want it from other races and things like that. He was a racist guy. So he has his subordinates, his associates, donate blood. Little does he know, one of them is a bodybuilder and has HIV.
Oh, no.
And Greg Scarpa gets HIV.
Oh, wow.
And it's a wild story. You've got to go listen. I urge all of you to go check it out. Also on Monday, I have a really special episode coming out. We talked to a guy. I put out a little teaser for it. A guy called Chad Marks. He did 17 years in federal prison, some of the worst prisons in America. He wrote a book, and he was given 40 years at the age of 24. He fought in the law library on his own case, became a jailhouse lawyer, started getting people out of prison, and managed to get himself out of prison under the First Step Act that Donald Trump introduced. He got out of prison June 5th, 2020. June 25th of 2020. He's almost had a year out. He's put a book out. He's got a YouTube channel. Fascinating stories. He talks about his experience in various federal prisons. He met Whitey Bulger inside. He talks about some experiences he had with him and some other individuals that he's come in contact with. Really a fascinating story, and I'm going to put that out on Monday, kind of a special episode. So make sure you check out the Sit Down. I think this morning we're already at like 3,000 or 4,000 views. So the show's doing really well, and I think you all will like it. So go check it out if you haven't. Spread Astaire, you're the best. I always appreciate you coming on when I ask, and you do a great job. I love hearing your NBA picks. Real quick before we go, do you have any thoughts on Game 3 in Phoenix and LA? LA is a 1-point favorite. Are we getting to the point, Spread? Where, if you remember, in Game 3, I believe, the Denver Nuggets were a favorite.
Right.
And we all said, how the hell are they a favorite? Why are they a favorite tomorrow? Can you explain that?
My guess is they just assume the shooting from the role players is going to get better.
But Chris Paul's probably going to play, isn't he?
I don't know. I think with the report last night, he might not. If you have symptoms, then it's most likely that he's not going to give you 2 negatives before tomorrow. You need 2 negatives to play, so...
This is really pathetic, man. It's so wild that he's actually out. It's crazy. Listen, I'm going to just say this now. I don't think the Suns should be a dog in this series ever. Without Kawhi Leonard, I just don't think they should be.
Yeah. I think they're saying that home court is full again. It's back to 3. And so then it's a 6-point swing when you switch arenas.
That's wild. LA's home court's not worth 1 or 2 points, let alone 6.
Yeah,
I guess it's worth 1 or 2, but it's not worth that. I don't know if it's even worth 1 or 2, but yeah, that's crazy. We'll see. It's gonna be a fascinating talk tomorrow. And we might actually have Spread. We've had Spread the last couple of days because we've had other folks that And not that we don't watch Spread every day, but we try to mix it up here on the show. But maybe we'll see you tomorrow later in the week, Spread. Always.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll be ready.
Very good. Thanks for coming on, and we'll see you then. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thanks for watching the Hoops Betting Hour. We have some great loyal people in here, so we thank you for that. Go check out PicksWise. Go check out FanDuel. Go check out Same Game Parlays, some of the best stuff in the business. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow here on the show.